Hi everybody, Mrs. Langholt here, and I'm here to teach you about science and sound. Now this is a really fun unit, and we usually have a lot of fun doing this in the classroom because you guys get to do all the experiments with me. But since we don't have that ability, we can do it right here in our own homes. So you can find all these objects that I have in your house at home. And here's what I've got. Something simple like aluminum foil, an ice cream bucket, a bowl of water, something small like beans or rice or sugar or salt, a slinky if you have one, and a piece of paper, okay? So what are we gonna do? We're gonna talk about what is sound. And what sound is when air molecules are moved or disturbed. So one of the first experiments that I generally have us do is I would give all of you guys a tuning fork, okay? And this is a tuning fork. They come in different sizes. We've got big, we've got smaller, and they bring out in different pitches, which is a high sound or a low sound. We'll learn more about that later. So you might not have a tuning fork at your house, but if you hit something like a metal pan or a metal pot, you're gonna hear that ring also. So you can use that instead of a tuning fork for us, for our purposes right now. So I'm gonna show you what this sounds like and actually what vibrations look like, because sound is also known as vibrations. And so when I hit this against my hard object of my table here, you're going to hear a high pitch. Can you hear that? Now, if you were in the classroom, you'd be able to hear this for a long time. So one of the first things that I have you do with your tuning fork, or for you, if you want to try this with your metal pan, is I would have you hit the edge of this against a hard surface, and then I'd have you look at it to see if you can see the vibrations and see it move. So I'm going to bring this closer to you to see if you guys can see the vibrations. So I'm going to hit it against the floor here, and then I'm going to see if you guys can see the vibrations. Does it look a little bit blurry to you? If it does, you're seeing how fast it's vibrating. It's vibrating really, really, really fast, okay? So the first thing we would do is we would see the vibrations. The second thing that we would do is I'd have you hit it again, and this time have you put it up to your ears to see how long you can hear that vibration. Once you hit it, and you hold it up next to your ear, you can hear that a long time. Your eardrums are going to continue to vibrate, and long past the point that your neighbor is going to be able to hear this, you're going to continue to hear this ringing in your ear. Using tuning forks is something that doctors sometimes also use to test people for hearing loss, something kind of interesting. So you can try this with a metal pan or something at home and see if it vibrates next to your ear and see how long you can hear that. Okay, so we've seen vibrations, we've heard vibrations. Now we're going to talk about how to feel vibrations. So with a tuning fork, something kind of fun to do, and again, I'm not sure this will work with a pot or a pan at home, but you can certainly try it, is you can hit this against a hard object like a book or the floor or a table, and then you're going to touch it to a piece of paper. Hear all that buzzes? So sound travels, and we're going to learn about how that travels here in a second. It travels in wave form, and we're going to learn about that in just a little bit. So we do that again. We can hear that vibration. We can hear that sound. It's making it buzz. And you could actually do this with a comb against a piece of paper as well. If you run the ridges of a comb against a piece of paper, like an index card, it can make high sounds and low sounds depending on how fast you go. And these are all fun things that you can do with sound. Another fun thing that you can do with sound when you feel it, and this might be something that you can try with family members at home with your mom or dad or brothers and sisters, you can see if sound travels from person to person. So if you were in the classroom, what I would have you guys do is I would have you guys hold your fingertips together in a group so that all of your fingertips touch. And then one person would hit the tuning fork and touch their finger. And what's really cool is that you can feel the buzz in your finger if you are the one that hit the tuning fork, but everybody else that's putting their fingertips together can also feel that vibration. So we discovered that sound can move through objects. So you're gonna feel it from one person to everybody else who's touching your fingertip. That's kind of like how electricity would move, like in an electric fence, how you would be able to feel that. Okay. Another thing that you can do with a tuning fork or with something metal that vibrates is water. You can experiment and see if sound travels through water. So what I would have you do is get a bowl of water in your groove or with your family members, and you would take your tuning fork or your metal object that can vibrate, you would hit it. I'll try to do this a little bit closer so you can see it, but the water actually splashes right out of the bowl. So let's try this again, see if you guys can see this here. I don't know if you saw that splash, but it definitely travels through water. So sound travels through water. If you've ever watched any submarine movies, you know that they use sonar to push sound signals through the water to identify ships around them. So sound travels through water as well. Now, we talk about waves next and how the sound travels in waves through the air and is kind of invisible almost. So if you have an ice cream bucket and some foil, you put the foil across the top of your ice cream bucket, nice and tight, and then you can dump on some seeds or some granules of sugar or salt, and the smaller the particle, the more fun it is to watch. Then you can take your big item, like a drum or a pot or a pan in your kitchen, and then have it something to hit it with. And I'm gonna try to bring this close so you can see it. Now, if I hit this drum from way over here, you're gonna see those seeds move. Can you hear that? Can you hear how the beans are vibrating on top of the foil? Now, if you've got something small like sugar or salt, you're gonna really see those small particles jump right off of the foil, which is really kind of fun. So let's see if I can make them jump a little bit higher. Yeah, they jump even more. So sound travels through the air and can affect objects around it. It can affect us in ways that we don't even know. And we'll talk about that in some later lessons. So it's kind of cool how much sound affects us, not just our hearing if the sound is too loud, but also our bodies. Have you ever seen a car that's driven by your street and the bass is on really high and you can almost feel it in your body, that booming sensation? So you are feeling sound. Kind of cool. Okay, so we talk about how sound can travel in waves, and this will be the last activity that we do today. So I'm going to take my slinky here to demonstrate how sound travels. Well, sound travels in waves from one place to another place, and it makes things vibrate. Okay, so when sound's traveling in waves, it can travel in two kinds of waves. One's called a longitudinal wave, and that is how sound moves through the air. So if you have a slinky at home and you take it on the floor, this works a little bit better when it's on the floor between two people, but one person would hold the one end steady and the other person would take the other end and push a wave to the other side. Looks a little bit cooler if you have it straight and flat on the floor. Let's see if I can demonstrate that here. So I have this here like this. Did you see how that wave moved straight across just from pushing one end? Yeah, and it bounced back. Okay, so that's a longitudinal wave. Another kind of wave is called a transverse wave. It moves a little bit differently, and that's what happens when you pluck a string, like a stringed instrument, like a violin or a guitar. So what you can do with a partner is try to create some up and down waves. I don't know if you can see that I think I'm getting two here. Let's see if I can bring that a little further. Okay, got kind of one wave. See if I can make two. And this is where it's really kind of fun doing it on the floor with partners. I think I've got three here. So those are kind of some fun activities to do, kind of as an introduction to our science and sound unit. So I hope you guys have fun. Hope you guys have fun trying out some of these experiments. You'll have to email me and let me know if you guys try it out and if you guys have some fun with it. See you later.